How you doing? What a crazy week it's been. Just absolutely crazy. How you guys doing tonight? So tonight we're going to be talking about, is this it? Is this a black swan event? California wildfires. We're going to talk about that in this video. As usual, feel free to share your thoughts. Feel free to share your comments. Keep it respectful. I don't want to block anyone. I don't want to punt anyone. But I think this is an important topic to talk about, because anytime there's something like this, a black swan event, something that looks like a black swan, chances are you're going to hear me talk about it on this channel. When I created this channel in 2022, February 22, weird, right? 2022. 02, 22, 2022. How's that for numbers? I decided to create this show because I thought perhaps with Russia invading Ukraine, I thought perhaps we're entering into a black swan. So I wanted to create a YouTube channel that would document the various happenings that are going on around the world and treat it like a diary. Here's what's happening. Then I later changed my channel to call it Black Swan Revelations, because I also from time to time get insights or revelations from reading the Bible, the King James Bible. So that's kind of how my channel came together. And so I talk a lot about black swans, quite a bit. But I want to say hi to everyone. We're not going to go very long because I want you guys to have an evening to yourself tonight. So we're just going to hang out for a little bit. Is that okay? Is that okay with you? Welcome, Laura. Welcome, Rob Barber, not to be confused with Bob Barber. We also have Rui Duart de Andre Adul. Hopefully I said your name right. Laura, welcome to the show. Didra, welcome. Jean-Paul, welcome to the show. Who else we have? We have Nelson Linsky. Welcome, Nelson. More Schumann. Mark Schumann. Israel Flores, Pineapple Princess. Now that is a great channel name. Great channel name. He calls us his friends. Welcome, Ingrid. Welcome to the show. You know what? This is like a family. It's like you guys are a family here. Sometimes we argue over things around the kitchen table. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we all get along. We may have our differences, but we're all family here on this channel. So welcome. Jackie, welcome to the show. What else do we have here? Juanita Clark, welcome. Welcome to the show. Did I already say welcome to Jackie? Diane, welcome. Talia, welcome. Aunt Jemima, welcome to the show. Who else do we have? Sharon Loves JC, another great channel name. Only Jesus, great channel name. It's the end of the world as we know it. I'm not going to sing. I'm not going to sing. I kind of wish Aaron from Got a Minute. I used to call the show Got a Minute, but it's actually Got a Minute. He's going to be on my show Tuesday night, 6 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. And then, of course, on Sunday, we have a special edition of the Black Swan. And that is, we have Pete Garcia in the house. Also, Bob Barber is going to be joining us. So we mix things up a little bit. The idea is I'm going to do Black's Rev 5 probably 3 times out of the month. And then every once in a while, I'm going to inject a special edition of the Black Swan on Sundays. And then on Thursday, we also have a new series called the Rapture Watch. Rapture Watchers. Rapture Watch. So that's going to be on Thursday nights at, I believe, at 6 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. So that's going to be every Thursday. And then also coming up, we have a little thing that we're working on right now behind the scenes. And that is we are doing a women's version of Rev 5. Now the title is still in the works, but it's going to be a panelist of 5 watch women who look forward to that blessed hope, Jesus Christ. Now I might be in the backgrounds helping out with some of the scripture verses and that until they kick me off. My sister's going to be hosting it, and then we're going to have 4 other lovely ladies doing the panel, because I feel like it's kind of been a little heavy with men-centric. It's been a little bit men-centric on some of my stuff. So I'm going to introduce this series, and I'm not sure what night. I don't want it to conflict. I don't want my entire audience to move away and go watch that show in its entirety, because I think it'll be that good. But imagine 4 or 5 gals together talking about the Lord, talking about dreams and visions, talking about what they feel the Lord is speaking to them. And it may not be as World War III-ish as some of the content that I have. It might be more perhaps a Bible study, maybe perhaps a word to someone. It might be more of a testimonial or a few verses that someone wants to share. Perhaps the Holy Spirit has laid a word on them. And so I'm picturing it a little bit more still in the realm of end times, but not as heavy like Rev 5. Rev 5 is heavy on the aliens, the drones, motherships coming to Earth, attacking drones, soldiers, battles, all kinds of stuff. And that may not be for everybody. Sometimes it gets a little bit heavy for me, but we're going to mix it up a little bit. We're going to have a panel where it's just 5 women on the panel, and they might have debates. They could have arguments. They could have disagreements. Who knows? They might have some extra insight from a different lens that perhaps some of us guys don't have a clue sometimes. Like, we're just oblivious of what's right in front of us. They might be able to just bring the heat, because I know my sister Amy, she has a gift for prophecy. I'm telling you what, she's got some pretty cool insight. And there's a lot of times where my sister and I will be on the phone a couple hours at a time. Like, my arm will actually go dead. We're talking so long on the phone, or my cell phone will just die on me. She's got lots of insights, lots of wisdom there. So I appreciate her coming on to this show. And again, it's still a working title, because I want to get some feedback from the gals as well to see what title perhaps that they would like to use. Because at first it's like Watchmen women. Just not bad. Not bad, but maybe they'll come up with a better idea. So I think I don't want to speak too early, but I think Ingrid is actually going to be a part of the panel. Part of the panel. So he calls us his friends. So I've invited her out to the panel. What we're going to do is we're going to have a private session between with the 5 gals on there, and we want to just see if they mesh, if they click, because this is what I do on my channel. Like for Rev 5, if I get a new guest, I want to meet with them privately first, just to see if we click, if we're not crazy, if we're not in different directions. And sometimes it's okay to be in opposite directions. That's fine. But you don't want somebody to, every time you say something, they're like, no, that's not right. That's not true at all. You're a heathen. You don't want that. Sisters of Glory. Wow. That is a great name. That is a great name. Sisters of Glory. Wow. That has some pop to it. I like it. I like it. Yeah. So if you are interested, we're looking for one more person, because I believe we have 4, but we always like to have a backup. If you are interested in joining the panel, let us know. We'll take 2 people, but we're going to pick one. We'll take 2, but we'll pick one, because we'll need quite possibly an alternative, or an alternate. Because sometimes the 5 may not always be able to make it, because we know life gets in the way. Some people have families, significant others, children, dogs, cats. We don't know. Jobs, lives. They don't have to be on here every single day, but we're going to be, and this is not an interview process. This is more of, can you carry a conversation with each other? That's pretty much it. Or perhaps this might not work for you, but we can definitely fit you into another one of our shows. Maybe it's on a Thursday night, or maybe it's a Sunday night with the boys, Rev 5. Don't know. But we're just treating this as organic as possible. I want to make it natural, and I want to make it a little bit like it's a little bit more from their perspective. So I don't want to just inject all of my ideas and then it's like, oh, that didn't work, because it's too similar to Rev 5. But I really want to give this a go. I want to try it. I think there's a need to have more watch women talk about end times, talk about the rapture, talk about pre-tribulation, talk about the Bible, and have a different perspective as well. I think it's important. So that's what we're working on in the background. So in case you guys are wondering, I'm just not sure what night is going to be on the air. So if you're interested, again, if you just want to hang out, that's fine as well. If you're a woman and you're like, you know what, I want to see what these guys are up to, I don't mind hanging out, because I'm interested in starting my own YouTube channel down the road. Whatever. I helped my sister Amy start a YouTube channel, and I built it for her, helped her out, and I think she made like 5 videos and she got like 500 subscribers. Like, it's pretty amazing. But YouTube is not for everyone. It's not for everyone, folks. You can get blasted quite a bit by your comments, like by people on here. They hit you. So I want to try and protect people that are coming into my space as much as humanly possible. You're going to have a moderator as well, 1 or 2 moderators, so that you don't have to worry about people saying stupid stuff in the comments. I let it go a little bit here, but I have a couple of moderators on here, and I basically give them free reign. I say, if you feel like this person's being weird or whatever, punt them. It's okay to punt them. Watch Women of Rev 5. That's not a bad one as well. Watch Women. It kind of, it kind of feels like it's all under one banner. And I don't mind that. I think that's pretty cool. But I also want to be open to the idea, because I would just go watch women Rev 5 and that's it. So I want to make sure that it makes sense, and then it's organic enough that it can actually get a bit of an audience, get a bit of a push, because it's easy to find, it's easy to remember, because sometimes you can have names that are very difficult to remember. No matter how many times people tell it to you, just like, I don't know what your channel is about. I don't know what it's called. Nothing. Let's see here. What else? And I'm thinking probably in the next couple of weeks, because next Friday, I'm taking off to Phoenix. So I'll be gone. Next week, next weekend, next Sunday, Gary Gates is actually hosting the show for me. Thank you, Gary, for doing that. So that's what's funny is when Gary hosts the show, there's like 10 people on, 10 panelists. And we get more numbers when Gary's hosting than when I host. I'm jealous. I'm jealous of Gary. It could be because he's a smooth talker. I don't know if you ever heard his voice. He's got a very good voice. Very smooth, very smooth. Just going through the comments, because these are great comments. Phoenix. Awesome. There's a few people from Phoenix. Awesome. Oh, Gary's listening in on me. How about that? And Gina, you know what, Gary? I was going to ask. And Gina, she is welcome, most welcome. Maybe she's the fifth wheel. Maybe it's your wife and Gina. That would be great, because we have, who do we have so far? We have my sister, Amy. We have Amy Moosfeld. We have, I believe, Cindy, Amy's friend, is going to be coming on. We have Ingrid, new to the fold. Nobody's met her yet, but that's okay. I think she'll fit in perfectly. And then Angina would be awesome as well. And I know every time I give a thumbs up, I get a thumbs up here. So it is going to be fantastic. Daisy Joe, welcome to the show. Go figure. Great channel name. Martin. Everything Jesus. Wow, we got a lot of people on here tonight. All right. So let's talk about this a little bit. Let's talk about this. Welcome, Lisa. Let's talk about, yeah, and Gina would be great. I think that would make it solid. Peace sign. Okay, let's see what happens. Oh, look at this. You know, balloons like that creep me out a little bit. It feels like clowns. I don't like clowns. There's 2-3 things that I don't like in the world. One is sharks, and the other one is snakes and mice and bats, flying mice. Don't like those either. But I don't like clowns that look like sharks. That would be a nightmare, an absolute nightmare, to be swimming in an ocean and then all of a sudden you see a shark with clown makeup on that doesn't wash off and is coming towards you. I don't like zombie movies either with clowns and all that stuff. I don't like that stuff. All right, so let's get serious. Let's get serious here. All right, so I listed some reasons why I thought perhaps the California wildfires might be a black swan. And if you don't know what a black swan is, that's okay. You've come to the right channel. It's real easy. It's real simple. There's 3 criteria I would argue for, but 3 criteria for sure. And this is from Nassim Taleb. Do I have his book? What? This is a Black Swan channel. I don't have my Black Swan book on me. Crazy. So there's 3 criteria. The first criteria is it has to be unpredictable. As in, you can't predict it. You can't predict it. The second thing is You can say highly improbable. Second thing is, it has to devastate your economy almost overnight. It has to change your world overnight. And then the third thing is that you have an explanation for it. You say things like, we should have saw this coming. We should have saw it coming. So that is using hindsight bias. You know after the fact. You don't know before the fact. Think 9/11. I promise you, nobody except for Alex Jones on Earth knew about 9/11 and the terrorists or the government or whoever it was that brought down those buildings. Nobody, no regular folk knew about 9/11. I know where I was. I was riding my bike to work. I was working at a equestrian show jumping facility doing their documentaries, their TV shows. And when I got in, one of the buildings was, both buildings were on fire when I got in. And I can't remember. I'd like to say that I saw the second plane hit, but I'm pretty sure because it was around 8:30, 9 o'clock. I might have been a little bit late. It might have been around 9 o'clock. So I can't recall. I'd have to go through the times and whatever, but I was pretty sure both buildings were on fire. They were both up, 100%. They were both up. And then those two went down, and then building number 7, which was way far away, fell as well. And that was kind of weird. And then we have all the planes crashing. Pennsylvania, another one crashing into the Pentagon, which that one was a weird one. You got to be honest there. That was a weird one because it looked like a missile hit that thing. There was no fuselage, like no wings, nothing. Like it looked like just a big hole. So, and of course the camera footage didn't detect anything, couldn't pick up the plane crashing into the building. So whatever. The point is, you can't predict this stuff. But afterwards, oh my goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Everybody had a theory as to why we should have saw it coming. That fits in with the DNA of a black swan event. Is you say things like you knew it. You saw it coming a mile away, but you didn't tell anybody. But you knew. No one else knew, but you knew. So that's an example of a black swan event. So now, question is, do these California fires fit the criteria of a black swan event? And I'm going to give you 10 reasons as to quite possibly why they do. First one, unprecedented and unexpected scale. You can't go across California without someone saying, yeah, you know what? I think we can expect some fires this year. It might even be a little bit worse than last year, but not at this scale and this fast. Nobody predicted that. So right now, so far, for 2025, the wildfires have caused over $20 billion in insured losses and up to $150 billion in total economic damage. This is according to MarketWatch. Wildfires are common, but this level of destruction has displaced over 100,000 residents, killing wildlife as well. We didn't even factor that in yet. And contaminating drinking water. This was shocking on a scale that we never thought imaginable. Hindsight bias. We're getting this now. After a disaster like this, and it's not over yet. After disasters like this, people often claim they were predictable. While factors like poor forest management, urban expansion, and climate change were known risks, no one foresaw the degree of devastation. The destruction of over 10,000 structures. This shows how unprepared we were. We meaning we as humans. That was from Yahoo News. Hi, Susan. Hi, Jackie. I think I might have said hi to Jackie already. Any comments so far? Anything? Let me just go through the comments here. Anybody from LA? Anybody from California? Anybody have relatives? I believe Ingrid said that she has some family in California. It's devastating, right? Like I have my daughter and her husband live in Phoenix, so it's a little ways away, obviously. Desert region, all this kind of stuff. Great place. We'll be there on Friday, next Friday. But does anybody have family in California? They canceled. That's interesting. They canceled my tsunami flood insurance in Southern California. Wow. That's crazy. I think there's a lot of insurance stuff going on here. Before January 1st, my last thing that I predicted was a major earthquake for California. And obviously everybody says that, right? Everybody says, hey, we're due for the big one. But I'm actually surprised that that hasn't happened yet in California because, again, in December, one just went off the coast, I think 7 miles off the coast or 10, 14 miles off the coast. It's a 7.2, 7.4 on the Richter scale, which would be devastating. If that was in San Francisco or somewhere along the coast, we're talking devastating. Let's see here. That's weird to cancel that tsunami insurance because there were rumors that there was a possible tsunami after that earthquake, and that's usually what causes tsunami in the ocean. If it's shallow enough, if the plates are moving, all kinds of crazy stuff. Huge and widespread impact. The fires didn't just burn buildings, they disrupted housing markets, healthcare systems, usually smoke-related symptoms, obviously, people who have lung damage from fires. And the local economy is just devastated. Think of all these people. If you think COVID-19 was bad for California, I think this is like 100 times worse. Shop after shop, house after house being burnt to a crisp. Displacement of so many people and animals. We can't forget the animals. I come from Fort McMurray. That's my hometown, Fort McMurray, Alberta. That place got almost leveled by forest fire. Over 100, I don't know how many, what do we have there? 200,000 people, 100,000 people? That place was rocked. It was never the same after that. They rebuilt it, and I actually think they had another fire. But just home after home after home was getting destroyed. And what was weird is there were a couple neighborhoods where some homes didn't get touched at all. And some places where there were no fires, there were homes that were on fire. And I think there was something weird going on with home insurance because some of the firefighters would go there and they're like, you know what? This doesn't make sense that there was a fire here because it wouldn't start in your basement or somewhere. It would start usually at the stove or somewhere else, but this fire started in the basement. And then some of these people would get declined for their insurance because of insurance fraud. So, and I think some of that's perhaps going on as well. Because if you see your whole neighborhood go up in flames and your house is the only one, I'm sure somebody's like, torch it because insurance will cover it. I'm just saying this out loud that thought could cross someone's mind if they're not a believer in the Lord, and if they're like, you know what, it's better to just let this thing burn, or instead of saving it, let's just cook it ourselves and throw a propane tank in there and then off it goes. Don't know. I've seen it before. I've seen people do this stuff. I've heard people do it. Chain reactions. The fires created ripple effects such as supply and chain disruptions, Power outages. We didn't even talk about that. Business closures, like dozens, if not thousands, of businesses being closed. Hi, Laura. Hey, Beth. The Outcoast AL Outpost. It's an interesting channel name. That was from the Business Insider. Underestimating the risk. This is why I believe this is a black swan event, is you underestimate the power of a black swan, the effects of a black swan. California failed to prepare for an event of this magnitude. Emergency responses were overwhelmed, and fire prevention systems couldn't handle the scale of the crisis. More than 100,000 people have been displaced, or homes displaced. Residents, this is highlighting the lack of evacuation and housing readiness. Now, to be fair, you can't prevent a black swan. You can't prevent it. That's why it's a black swan. It's unpredictable. If you could predict it, you would prevent it. And then it's not a black swan. So black swan means it's unpredictable. And they had a drought. Let's not forget about the drought. Human influence and possible malpractice. False insurance claims with over $20 billion in insurance losses. The opportunity for fraud could inflate costs as well, distorting the real scale of the disaster. And that's from MarketWatch. Arson or negligence, faulty equipment may have played a role in igniting or worsening the fires, as has been seen in past wildfires. Got to talk about blue beam and directed energy weapon theories. These are going all over the internet. It was like that last year when Hawaii got hit. People swore they saw blue beams destroying homes, except for the homes that had blue on it. It's kind of weird, right? So some conspiracy theories point to unusual burn patterns as evidence of advanced technologies being used to start or worsen fires. While speculative, they reflect society's struggle to rationalize unpredictable disasters. So while conspiracy theorists are going on, and sometimes I'm part of these conspiracy theorists as well. Like I'm right in there. I'm like, it seems kind of weird that there's fires over here, and then all of a sudden there's a fire over here, and it's spreading. And I'm like, man, I used to play with magnifying glasses, and you can't tell where the fire is going to start until you hold that glass over just the right lens or just the right distance. I remember teaching kids Sunday school. This is me being an idiot for a second. For just 1 second, not too long. Just an idiot for a second. I had a magnifying glass, and it was after church. And actually, these kids had a magnifying glass, and they were burning ants and stuff, cooking them along the sidewalk. I'm like, oh, hey, that's kind of cool. What are you guys doing? They're like, we're cooking ants. Oh, cool. Can I see that? And I'm like, oh, this thing looks pretty cool. So I took my arm and I took the glass, and I'm trying to, holy smokes. I had no idea that I just harnessed the sun into 1 millimeter on my hand. I thought it burnt a hole right through my wrist. I was like, what was I thinking? Didn't even think about it. I was just, yeah, this seems to be reasonable. And I took the glass. I'm like, I almost started crying. It hurt so bad, but I couldn't let the kids know. They're like, how come you're all teary-eyed? I'm like, I'm in so much pain right now. I feel like my arm is falling off. I don't recommend using magnifying glasses. My point is, you see some of this stuff going on, not specifically with California, But if I'm going to stay true to being a conspiracist, you have to believe there's some bad actors in this somewhere along the line. You see 3 or 4 homes built, burning. You look across the street and you're like, these ones aren't. I'm going to light it up. I'm going to torch this place. Because these homes are all getting disintegrated. And again, the winds are like 100 miles an hour. So it wouldn't take much. It wouldn't take much to cause a chain reaction and have entire neighborhoods be destroyed. What else do we have here? Financial exploitation. Some argue certain industries profit from disaster recovery contracts, raising questions about international negligence. This happens a lot. We know this. And then through these human influences, whether through deliberate actions, mismanagement, or speculation, amplify the complexity and consequences of the event. Extreme events are more likely than we think. That's the nature of California. For example, sometimes when we're talking about black swans, we call something a fat-tailed distribution. And what that means is for example, these fires in California, this fit what experts are saying, that these extreme events are happening more and more, and it's because there's a bunch of other things going on at the same time. Drought, climate change, whether you believe it or not, these are factors, and high winds. You combine all of them, and all of a sudden you have a nice little black swan nest waiting to happen. Changing expectations. Events like this are redefining what we consider normal. The burning of 35,000 acres in Southern California and the displacement of so many people show how fire seasons are growing worse every year. And we have global effects. Wildfires release enormous amounts of carbon into the atmosphere, worsening climate change. They also strain international insurance markets and displace wildfire disrupting ecosystems globally. Again, take it with a grain of salt whether or not this is affecting the entire globe. We've seen mountains explode. Think Mount St. Helens, other volcanoes over the years. That didn't seem to harm the environment too much. Like, we rebounded, we recovered, and this seems to be cyclical. Not trying to say that there's no such thing as climate change, but I do believe in cyclical climate change, where it gets colder some years, and some years it gets warmer, all this kind of stuff. My humble opinion. Systematic failures. The fires exposed weaknesses in California's disaster preparedness and forest management. I remember when the governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, used to talk about fire management, and I think they let him go. They voted him out, or they voted someone else in, because they weren't happy with how he was managing the fires. So this has been going on a long time with California, and it seems like it's getting worse and worse. And then the contamination of drinking water, that's a big deal. So in conclusion, the 2025 wildfires demonstrate many characteristics of a black swan. They were unexpected, they were devastating, and had widespread effects. With damages of up to $150 billion, the displacement of over 100,000 people, and adding the global consequences, this event fits Taleb's definition of rare, high-impact occurrence. However, the role of human influence, from false insurance claims to mismanagement, negligence, and even speculative theories like Blue Beam, adds another layer to the narrative. These human factors may have escalated the crisis, either through intentional actions or systematic failures. This event also illustrates the fat-tailed nature of wildfire risks, where extreme high-impact outcomes are more likely than traditional models suggest. While climate change is making such events more frequent, the interplay of natural and human factors demonstrates how black swans can emerge from complex and poorly managed systems. Proactive risk management and accountability are essential to negate such disasters in the future. So the question people will ask, is it possible to prevent this from happening? I would argue no, but I want to present an argument as to how you could prevent it. But being that I'm a bit of a black swan guy, you can't prevent black swans from happening, because if you don't know where they're happening, you can't prevent them. So black swan events by their nature are unpredictable and often seem unpredictable to prevent. However, while the exact scale and timing of 2025, the California fires in 2025, may have been unforeseeable, some mitigation strategies could have reduced the devastating impact. And I think that's what we really want to know. So what are some of the ways? Well, improved forest management. If you can control burns, if you can clear brush, create little fire breaks, might have a little chance there. And again, we're not saying preventing it, but maybe you could minimize some of the damage. So on the other side of it, from a black swan perspective, why this might not work is even if you had proper forest management, extreme droughts and high winds driven by climate change could still have created the conditions for catastrophic wildfire. Because don't forget, there's high winds as well. And California is right in the middle of a drought. Infrastructure upgrades. So what could have helped perhaps is upgrading aging power lines. It seems like it's easier to fix something after it's broken than using preventative maintenance. So you can have strict utility protocols. This could reduce the risk of sparks from faulty equipment. And we know that this is the cause of many fires. So again, why it might not work? While these measures address human-triggered fires, they wouldn't prevent lightning strikes or other natural ignitions. Now you can say, well, again, back to the Blue Beam, that somebody's actually using satellites to create this on purpose. Possible. It's possible, but that's really leaning on the conspiracy side where I normally live. Sometimes I like to come back a little bit. It's possible, though. I wouldn't put it past someone to do something like that. Community preparedness. What could have helped? Expanding evacuation plans. It's kind of hard. It's kind of a hard one because basically you're evacuating all of California. It's never easy. But you could build fire-resistant structures, and unless everybody does it, that may not work either. So you can make one house bulletproof, but if your whole neighborhood's gone, who's going to live there? Really? You going to live there? So you can have fire-resistant structures, increase funding for firefighting resources, could have reduced casualties and properties. Now, there were rumors that money was deferred till later, maybe the summer, maybe the fall, to hire more firefighters, all this kind of stuff. It kind of feels like California has a year-round fire problem. Kind of feels that way. And just so you know, it's very dry where I am. There's hardly any snow where I am. I'm just on the southwest of Calgary, and it's very dry. Very dry here. Lots of snow in the mountains, but here it's very dry. And I wouldn't be surprised if some fires started going in like March, April. They seem to be like, it's kind of weird around here sometimes. We're like, that's kind of a weird place for fires to come. It's kind of weird. Anyways, so black swans, as we know, are inherently unpreventable. You can't prevent a black swan. That's why they're a black swan. So by definition, black swans defy prediction and prevention because they arise from the intersection of unlikely factors that you wouldn't even consider. The 2025 wildfires were fueled by a mix of climate change, human activity, and environmental mismanagement, each complex in its own right. While preventative measures might have reduced some damage, they couldn't have stopped the fires entirely. So, in Talib's lesson, that instead of trying to prevent black swans, which you'll never be able to do, societies should focus on building resilience. So, using adaptation, risk awareness, accountability. So, in conclusion, while there may have been ways to mitigate the impact of the California fires, the complex interplay of natural and human factors make it impossible to fully prevent such events. The focus should instead be on preparation and resilience to reduce the devastation of future disasters. And I think the California wildfires qualify as a black swan event. Qualify. What are you guys' thoughts? What are your thoughts? Let's go through some questions. If you have some questions related to this topic, I may or may not be able to answer it because I don't live in California, but it's good to talk about it. And we're not going to go very long. We got about 10 minutes here. But if you wouldn't mind make them all caps, because it's just easier to stand out. Just pops. Let's see here. Oklahoma bombing, 1990, perhaps. What was that guy's name? Tim McVeigh? I don't know what the guy's name is. Yeah, could be. Like, there's lots of stuff that happens that we're just not aware of. And I think people, because of my channel now, are paying a little bit more attention. Not just my channel. I'm just saying that because there's like 800,000 people that have actually watched my channel now, that when it's almost like, when you buy a minivan, like I used to own a minivan, it seemed like everybody had one. And maybe they did, but it seemed like everybody had the same color as mine. I could just pick them out. And I think when 800,000 people hear about a black swan, and because I explain it so many times on my channel, and you see a news article and you click on it and you go, oh, well, that could be what this guy's talking about. It could be the financial sector or whatever, and you click on it and then the media knows, okay, these people clicked on it. Let's boost that up a bit. But for myself, I feel like I'm seeing black swan stuff all over the place. You turn on the TV, you see somebody talking about a black swan. Is this a black swan event? Is this, is that, is this, is that, whatever. And then when they go back to their regular channel, they talk about everything else. but they don't have a dedicated channel like this where that's all we do is talk about black swans. And last summer, yeah, Tim McVeigh. Last summer, I actually met my very first black swan, and it was fantastic. Let me see. I don't know if I have. I thought it was pretty cool. I actually got to feed a black swan, and it was at the Phoenix Zoo. I don't know if I have it. I may not. I don't think I have that footage because it's kind of cool. I thought it was kind of cool. Let me just see. Let me see. Oh, yes. Here it is. Let's see, where do we have a video? Yes, right here. Okay. Here it is. Here is the black swan meeting a black swan. Now, it might seem like I'm afraid of the black swan, but just pretend I wasn't afraid. Pretend I am a brave warrior for black swans, because I wasn't sure if this thing was going to peck me, if you know what I mean. Tell me which side.
You're good.
Just make sure nothing bites me. I was worried about a black swan biting me in the tush. Aren't they beautiful? It's not every day that you get to meet a black swan. Oh, see him put his head up? Pretty cool, huh? I didn't want to feed the duck. I'm like, go away, duck. My channel is not called Duck Dynasty. Go away. It was Duck Dynasty, fine, but it's not Duck Dynasty. It's Black Swan Revelations. Look at that duck. He's stealing. I'm like trying to shoo him away. That was in Arizona, my friends. That was in Arizona. That was fun. I have more footage, but I thought I'd just show you that little piece. I love black swans. I know. I want a black swan. Can you imagine having a black swan as a pet? Maybe I'll see if I can smuggle one back into Canada. That'd be kind of cool. That'd be cool. Yeah, mallards are pretty cool, but black swans are rare. Because there was a time, I think it was like 1800s, where nobody believed in a black swan. That's why they would say like something like, if this guy decides to be a farmer, that'll be the day that I see a black swan. Because all swans were white back then. And then some sailors came across an island known as Australia, and they came across a whole flock of black swans, and that changed their whole paradigm. There was no black swan until there was. There was no black swan event. There was no plane hitting a tower until it happens. There's no risk of planes hitting towers until it happens. There was no risk of the United States being attacked by Japanese pilots until it happened. There's no risk of California being disintegrated by flames until it happens. This is the nature of black swans. When you're in it, and this is so important, when you're in it, you don't know it until you get out of it. And then you look backwards and you go, oh, I should have saw this coming. And I would surmise that you wouldn't have seen it coming. You're only using hindsight bias to explain it away. Yeah, I was at the Phoenix Zoo. The Phoenix Zoo. Hence the name Black Swan. Yeah, and I don't know if you guys noticed this. I would like to say that I painted this black swan in the back. I would like to say that. But I'm not going to say it. I just would like to say it. That's what I do when we have friends or family over and my wife cooks a lovely dinner. I'll say something like, I would like to say that I cooked this meal, and then I'll just stop. I won't say anything else. And they start laughing or whatever because it's silly, because they know I never cooked the meal. But this painting was bought by my sister Amy and my brother Dustin. So if you guys are watching, thank you guys for this painting. I love it. It's great. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. So that's pretty much it for my show. Look at this. We're almost at 1 hour. 1 hour. We got a couple minutes. We got 2 minutes. Got 2 minutes. Anything else? Anything regarding what I just talked about before we go? Because the DJ is going to crank up the music any second, and I want to make sure that you guys have a chance to say something, because they're on a time clock, the DJ. I'm looking at the DJ right now, and I'm like, he's queuing up the music. I guess that means we have to go. I don't want to go, guys. I'm going to miss you guys. I'm going to miss you. I want to go. But I kind of have to go because I have a life. Just like you guys have a life. And I have a wife. Although she's setting a puzzle upstairs, a jigsaw puzzle. She's probably not missing me right now at the moment. But I'm getting a little bit hungry. I'd have to get takeout or something. We'll see. So good night. Hey, Darcy, good pal of mine. How you doing, bro? So thanks everyone for being on here tonight. Really appreciate you guys. And I'll see you guys in another video. Bye for now. You know I couldn't have left you hanging. This is what you get when you leave. When you go do something else. Those of you that stick around, you get a little bonus here. A little bonus. The Phoenix Zoo, I gotta tell you, is absolutely amazing. It's the best zoo that I've ever been in my life. They had rides. I think they had just about every animal on the planet. I saw some crazy animals too. Stuff that I never even knew existed. But they had all kinds. They had white albino alligators. Are you kidding me? Freaky stuff. They had all kinds of stuff. We actually went into one area. What were these birds? There were some birds that we actually rode on a train, a little one of those trains. They look like a train, but they're just on wheels. I don't think there was a track. But what we would do is I encourage you to take the train. Take the train. Because you get to see everything, and then you can... my advice would be to take the train first, then you can kind of scope out the areas that you want to go, because it's impossible for you to see it in one day. There's no way. You need 2 days to see everything there. But the highlight for me was the train ride. And there was a boat ride where you get all wet. That was great as well. But on the train, there's one area that they went, be careful, because some of these birds are a little bit, I think they're like, were they an ostrich or something? I can't remember what they were. I think they're a certain type of bird, I think it was, that actually came towards the train. They're like, just ignore them. Let me know if they're coming close or whatever, and we'll speed up or whatever. But they're actually very territorial and very aggressive. So I thought that was kind of interesting, because I'd hate to get pecked by a bird. But these birds are aggressive. But the highlight of the show was these seals, sea lion show. Those things are amazing. I wish I had a pet sea lion. I would highly recommend going to the zoo, and in fact, we might go see the zoo again. We have a zoo in Calgary. All the animals are asleep, and they're all hibernating. It's bad to go to a zoo in Canada, because they're all in their den sleeping, hibernating and whatever, and they don't like people, and they just stay protected. So they're boring. And I'm like, the only place that was kind of decent was when you see the birds, like I'm talking sparrows that would fly from someone's home to the zoo in Calgary, or you'd see otters, you'd see beavers, you'd see deer, you'd see moose, basically everything that you see on the way to the zoo outside of the zoo. Foxes, wolves, coyotes, I would see all that stuff. That's at our zoo. House pets, cats, dogs are like, hey, look at this. These are carnivores, also known as house pets. I bet you thought you were going to see something really cool at our zoo. And then they would have things like, oh, look at these plants. These are very vicious plants. What are those? Well, those are rubber plants. They're fake plants. Like, oh, fun. What a fun time at the zoo. But in Phoenix, that whole place comes alive. I'm telling you, the giraffes, we actually got to feed the giraffes. I don't think I have footage of it, but their tongues are like this. And my grandson was actually feeding them, and they would take their tongues and they would just go like this. And my grandson, who was like 15 months at the time, dropped some seeds or pellets or whatever that they have, and then the giraffe would take it away. And I was like, this is so cool. It's fun. Anyways, thank you guys for hanging around. I'll see you in another show. I'll see you. I'm going to be doing a little Bible study tomorrow. Won't be very long, just a quick little Bible study. I think it's on Giants or something, Genesis 6. We're going to be talking a little bit about the flood and stuff. And then Sunday, we're doing a special edition of Black Swan, and that's Pete Garcia is going to be the guest. And then also Bob Barber will be on as well, so that's going to be cool. And then we also have a couple of shows coming up this week. We have Got a Minute with Aaron. He's going to be on my show as well on Tuesday night at 6 o'clock to 8. And then we'll be having Overtime, almost like a double feature on Tuesday night. So don't make any plans. Just stay at your laptop, watch TV, grab some popcorn, whatever, but it's going to be good. You're going to get like 4 hours plus of Black Swan on Tuesday night. It's going to be pretty good. And then Thursday night, we got Rapture Watch. We're going to be talking about watching the Rapture. What are we keeping an eye on? What are we looking for? What are some of the things? We're going to be going over Matthew 24. We're going to be going over, Luke 21, Mark 16. Now, some people would argue these are not rapture verses, but they are for sure end time verses. And we're going to be talking about 1 Thessalonians as well. We're going to talk about Paul the Apostle and him talking about a rapture, all this kind of stuff. So it's going to be good. So on Tuesday, it's going to start at 6 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, and it'll just go. It'll just go to like 9:30 or something. I'll probably take a half an hour break between Aaron being a guest and then doing overtime. But Thursday night, it's at 6 o'clock. I'm going to try and keep them around the same time kind of thing. And then on Sunday, it's always 3:30 p.m. Always 3:30 p.m. with Pete Garcia and Bob Barber on this one. And then next week, Gary Gates is going to be taking over for me for that Sunday night because I'm out of town. And then the reason why you want to subscribe to this channel, because of our new show that we're coming up with. It's right now in the works. What did we say the show was going to be called? We had some good names. Watch Women, Rev 5, Glorious Girls. Is that what it was? There was somebody had a good name for it. I think it's going to be fun. Tomorrow morning, yes, Bible study with me tomorrow morning at I think like 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And then Sunday at 3:30. And just go check my channel. Just subscribe, click on the notification bell, and everything is all there. It's all there. So yeah. So stay tuned. I'm telling you, this isn't probably the most exciting channel in Cochrane, Alberta, because there's not very many people here. It's like I think there's like 10,000, 20,000 people, something like that. So this is like a happening channel in Cochrane. Maybe even Calgary, maybe even Canada. Like this could be like the best channel in Canada. Maybe. Don't know. Yeah, Rev 5 Watch Women. I kind of like that. Rev 5 Watch Women. It has kind of a nice ring to it. All right. Thanks, guys. And as you know, even like say you can't make the Bible study tomorrow, that's fine to watch the show. It'll be available afterwards. Like you can just watch it whenever you want, which is kind of cool. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for being on the show tonight. You guys have a fantastic night. And I'll see you in another video. Bye for now.